and to be honest, and Dan knows this, my first thought was, no, I don't want to work in the studio with the producer who's really a guitar player.
Tours on tours on tours getting announced, and one tour I'm really excited about, plus details on how you can win tickets to see him live this summer, coming up next on The Jeremy White Show.
An all-new episode of The Jeremy White Show.
Available wherever you stream.
Welcome back to The Jeremy White Show. Make sure you subscribe to get more cool stuff like this. If you're new here and if you're back, well, great to have you along with me. Really excited because Keith Urban has announced his big tour for this summer, 2025. Wow, yes, the High and Alive World Tour with special guests Alanis Springsteen, Chase Matthew, Carly Scott Collins as well. He's going to be performing live on my birthday, June 12th, at the Bank of New Hampshire Pavilion. We got your tickets to win all week long on 105.5 JYY, the beat of New Hampshire. Listen to Marissa all week long from 10 to 3. And we're going to send you to the show. Tickets go on sale Friday, December 13th at 10 a.m., Ticketmaster.com. But, of course, we're going to give you your free tickets all week on JYY. If you want to win, get all the deets online at WJYY.com. I got the chance to interview Keith Urban a couple of years ago, and not only did I talk to him about guitar playing, but also working with one of the greatest session guitarists of all time, Dan Huff. I fell in love with Dan growing up as a guitarist, listening to Shania Twain's Come On Over. His work with Mutt Lange was absolutely groundbreaking, phenomenal, crazy good guitar playing. And not only that, going back into his discography, his work with Giants, Michael Jackson, just all. If you know who Dan Huff is, you know who I'm talking about. Anyways, Keith Urban told me a really interesting story about how he ended up working with Dan Huff, and it turns out he actually didn't really want to work with him in the beginning, and he kind of had a bit of a rocky start at first. Here's Keith Urban throwing it back to this interview back in 2021, I think it was, courtesy of my old radio show in Montreal. Check it out. Here's Keith Urban.
You know, I'm such a big Dan Huff fan, and I love the fact that you guys have collabed pretty much on every record that you've done since, like, you know, the first or second. And he was coming off, you know, working with Mutt Lange on Shania's Come On Over and producing Megadeth. And what was the original, you know, why did you originally decide to go and work with Dan Huff?
My manager at the time, well, still my manager to this day, was managing Faith Hill at the time. And Dan had done Faith's
This Kiss and all those
Faith's record, yeah. And so his name came up because of that. And and to be honest, and Dan knows this, my first thought was, no, I don't want to work in the studio with the producer who's really a guitar player, because I was worried that they would force their style of playing into my records, and I didn't want another guitar player's thing getting in the way of what it is that I do. So I was actually gun shy of working with Dan. And there's no real short version of the story, but I'll say it as quick as I can. The first time we worked together, I had a song called Somebody Like You.
Fantastic.
Thank you. So we'd written it, demoed it.
It was written with John Shanks, right?
Yeah, correct. Another great guitar player. And I thought, well, that'd be a good song for us to start with. And I'd already been in the studio that I had for a few weeks. I'd recorded 6 songs with this band that I put this band together. I had the engineer, I had the studio, I had everything. And I met with Dan and played him the song. And he says, oh, this is great. Yeah, I'd like to use this studio. And I said, I already got the studio booked. And he said, okay, then I use this engineer. And I went, I already got the engineer. And he goes, oh, okay, well then I think we should use this drummer. And I got the whole band. I got everything. And he goes, well, what do you need me to do? I go, I just need you to show up. Because I was so burned on producers that really just assembled great people around them and really didn't do much. Really, I think they played great golf, and I was sick of it, and I just wanted to see. I was like this. I was like, "What do you do, Huff? Well, you know, what do you really do? You know?" So I threw him in at the deepest end of the pool possible. I said, "All you're going to do is show up. I want to see what you do." And damned if that guy didn't walk into the studio. And the first thing he did was sat in the middle of the studio, listened to the players, and he changed a few things of the kick drum with Chris McHugh. He changed a few things with the snare. He changed some bass ideas. He started moving people and things around. I watched the whole session go up this notch. And I sat there and went, oh my God, you're the real deal. Like you're a muso, arranger, you're a producer. You're a proper producer.
Yeah.
And that was the first song we did. And then we worked together ever since after that. But what's really cool is that that then became his sort of main engineer. It became his main session players.
Right.
He used all these guys from then on.
It was a blessing in disguise.
Yeah. But he's amazing.
Does he ever tell you like some stories in the studio? Oh, well, when I work with Mutt Lange, he made me do this on the guitar or stuff. Or
if I ask him, and certainly when he would have me doing a solo 4 billion times over and over, as was the case on many songs, and I'd be just like about to smash my guitar on the floor, and came close to it many times. He would remind me how long he worked on one string on a Mutt Lange record for weeks and weeks. So I'm like, all right, thank you. Whatever.
Yeah. One of my favorite solos of all time, actually, is the guitar solo in Kiss a Girl. That slide part is just so tasty. You don't hear guitar licks like that in music anymore. So would you ever consider getting together with Dan and doing like a proper straightforward country rock record with a band in the studio? Drop all the electronic stuff, drop the all the pop stuff, just go in straightforward guitar country rock.
I think some of the intention of The Speed of Now for me was I cover a lot of places musically.
Yeah,
at this
it's
point,
everywhere, and I love it.
Yeah, and and anybody in Canada and Montreal, everywhere up there that's come to see us play live know that it's sort of hard to define what we do live. It runs a gamut of a lot of things, and making this record, I was just trying to sort of go, well, I love playing songs like Forever, but I also love songs like One Too Many or Out the Cage, and they're all true. They're all true to me. Maybe it doesn't need to be one or the other. Maybe we can blend these things together. So that's really how this record came about.
An all-new episode of The Jeremy White Show.
Available wherever you stream.
Catch up on past interviews and episodes on demand now.
Subscribe so you don't miss any of it.